All right, people, so we're 9 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock. We got Mr. Ramkumar Narinesingh with us, and of course, he's industrial relations and business consultant. And we're going to chat about a few things. Well, I want to say good morning to him, because his birthday, thanks a lot. My birthday is today, his birthday is tomorrow. Long live the Geminis, man. He's the best, you know. we could, some people that say we mad because you know which one you're getting, you know what I mean? You could get the wrong twin on any given day. But nevertheless, we are going to discuss a few things related. Of course, tomorrow is Labor Day, and as is per usual, the unions will come together and march. Well, we'll see if they come together, because Ansel Roger spoke to the media.
Yep.
Well, we have the clip, so we just play the clip.
Let's run the clip.
Right, we'll run the clip. We'll hear what Roger had to say, and Mr. Narinesingh will give his thoughts on it, and then we'll get into a little deeper conversation, all right? Gentlemen, give me the Roger clip now. Yeah. Courtesy CNC3. Yeah. If that
things that at least 13 trade unions in recent times would have been complaining about the no protest zones that the government would have announced. Now, the OWTU hasn't reacted to that news just yet, but we do know that the trade union has protested outside a government minister's house, the residence of the prime minister in the past, to complain about grievances when it comes to workers' issues. What do you think about these no protest zones now?
I think I prefer to say today that we are working closely with the government. And you know, when you don't see us outside, we are quietly behind the scenes working with the government to do what? To fulfill our ultimate responsibility, which is to protect workers' interests, advance that same interest, and to ensure that workers are protected. And the struggle takes on many different forms, and that at present, we are reaping the rewards of our efforts in that regard. And today we have absolutely no regret with joining with the UNC and the coalition of interest, because we have absolutely begun, it has absolutely begun to bear fruit. Yeah. If you don't have an OWT in Trinidad and Tobago, employers will have a field day. All of those unscrupulous employers like the PNM, they will have a field day. And I want to warn the country, don't be fooled by the PNM, don't be fooled by them. They don't like workers. That's their history. But all of which you're asking me, we are going to be commenting on that in a major way on Friday. I don't want to say it too much now, because we want people to be with us as we share all of the good news and all of the plans going forward, because this country is going to go through a major economic boom, the likes of which we have never seen before. But when that happens, our position, the OWT's position, is that everybody in the country must get a piece of that national pie. Every worker must be able to benefit.
It's interesting that you said that, because it seems to some that you have the PSA, the OWTU, praising the government for its efforts with them and negotiations, but then you have other unions feeling differently, like TUTA, the Registered Nurses Association, the Steelworkers Union. There seems to be a divide. Are unions united in their views? Does the OWTU, at one point GTOM, does it still share that collective struggle with the other unions? And again, I still want to kind of nudge the point about the restrictions on protest locations. Do you think it's oppressive?
No, we continue to share a common interest with all of the trade unions, and that is the commonality in struggle, and also recognize that, everybody feeling the same pain, and therefore all of us, our mission has to be able to defend workers. And I did say, and I continue to maintain, from where we sit, the struggle takes on many different ways, shapes and forms, and therefore it requires innovative means of tackling those issues.
Things that
All right, so that's Ansel Roger there. There was something he said coming down to the end there, but it went in my head and come back out. I was trying to... But anyway, what are your thoughts on what Roger said there and about the OWTU working behind the scenes with the government and things like that?
Well, Stefan, in the first instance, I think that the statements made by this union, this particular union, and with the history that this union has had, the level of influence that this union has had, this is a it's a very powerful statement, in my opinion. And it's very, very interesting that this dynamic has shifted so significantly. If Trinidad and Tobago considers how things have played out over the last, just look at the last 20 years, because you're going to have to look back at 20 years, and you go back to circumstances of where there was the Faizabad Accord being signed with the unions, and that was with the People's Partnership Government. You remember that?
Yep.
Then you look at then the unions supporting the PNM, which allowed them the opportunity to get into government and then be in government for 10 years. I think what we've seen there, and to the end, as we were cutting, and the president was making a statement. He was talking about innovation. His last other words was
right.
the line
Something
of
he said down to the end there kind of grabbed me now.
And I've been saying this for the last couple of shows, saying that it appears that leaderships in this country are not thinking in line with an innovative approach to this unique transition of our economy that's taking place. And I am of the opinion that that is probably one of the most progressive positions that a union has taken in relation to national governments and workers' agenda, maybe in the last 20 years.
Okay.
That's my opinion. When you look at what's happening, it seems as if some of these leaders, the trade union leaders, are behaving like impetuous children. And let me tell you why I make this comment. Just consider the facts. You have a government that made a commitment. Oh, by the way, I want to make sure, I want to be clear, I have no association or affiliation with any of the political parties.
Many of the,
But this government made a bold commitment for increases that are, I mean, nothing short of mind-blowing, right?
Right, yeah.
As a matter of fact, the other political party was confident that they could not meet the
They couldn't
promises.
go more than 4%, yeah.
This government has taken some positions on things, like as the RSBA. That's a significant gamble, because that's going to impact on the business sector significantly when it changes. And this government has completed its commitments. And I will tell you something, I can attest to this, and I'll say this here openly. When the PNM was courting the labor movement, it would be now, 11 years ago, when they were Rowley had just taken over the leadership of the party. Dr. Rowley had taken over the leadership of the party.
No.
I sat in the room when he was courting the labor fraternity, and he made commitments. And let me tell you, 3 months after, I also sat in the room when he reneged on those commitments openly. Right? So what it tells me is that I think for the first time, the labor fraternity has actually seen a realization of political promises in such a short time and with such ferocity. And I think that the OWTU and its leadership has recognized that change in the paradigm of politics that has happened.
Right.
And when you look at what's happening with the unions that have gotten settlements, who have gotten commitments to certain things, and then you see the behavior that is being presented, you have to sort of ask yourself, well, where's the rationale? And the simplicity of it.
I wonder that very long as well.
The simplicity is there. If you do not make changes to your financial commitments unless you are managing a budget. At the level of managing a country where billions of dollars are at play and where you have deficits that are extreme.
In the billions as well.
You can't just get up tomorrow, do a settlement, and then say, here's what we're going to pay this money the next week, the next month, the next year.
Yeah, because okay, in the media, right? I'm trying to understand where these other unions at.
Right.
After the media, after the Minister of Finance spoke in the media, right? He said very clearly, we're coming back for this piece of money because we have increased salaries that we did not budget for in October.
Right.
The reason why we didn't budget for it in October is because the negotiations were not yet completed, right? So they had no idea as to how those negotiations would have gone, and then the calculation and the increase in salaries, right?
Right.
Good. So they come back to the Parliament as promised, because he did say in October last year that during the Standing Finance Committee on that budget presentation, he did say when asked, they said they didn't see any figure there for the increase, and he said, well, we have to come back, we will have to come back in the mid-year and deal with that. We'll come back and get that money. But right now we can't do it because we haven't calculated it, right? Okay. So let's take the teachers, for instance. They negotiated for a 5% increase under the previous administration. They closed the deal on that. So they took the 4%, and then they negotiated for another period of 5%, right?
Yeah.
That 5% increase, or whatever increase the increase that the salary increases, have been initiated. So they have been getting their higher salary so far.
Right.
The back pay is the issue.
Of course.
And the minister says in the mid-year, he says, when we come in October, we will address we will organize the back pay. So we're in June already. July, August, September, October.
Correct.
So at best, maybe 5 months is your wait. Yet still we see them, with their skirt up in the air, making noise. And then you have, on the other hand, you have the Registered Nurses Association saying that they have not had salary increases since 2013. But we're in 2026.
Correct. So
it begs the question, like for me, and I'm glad you're here, because I have been asking, well, okay, what you was doing between 2013 and 2025?
Correct.
That all of a sudden now, you want everything now. And I'm saying that I understand that everybody, cost of living has gone up and whatever the case might be. But it's not like the intention is not there. And like you said, the intention was there and made very clear as it relates to the PSA and other unions with their salary negotiations and the government making a commitment to them. Because those are the ones that held their hand and they didn't take the 4%. They decided they're going to wait, and if the government changed, they will negotiate with a new government, right? They got their 10% as promised. So, I mean, you just said that. They're meeting the commitments. They're making commitment, they're meeting it, right?
But that's what the evidence tells us.
Right. So if they say, listen, in October, in a few months' time, we will come back and get this money here for your back pay. We'll deal with that. But we have to see how things go and progress between now and October. But in October, we'll deal with their back pay. Yeah. What is the noise for?
So always remember, and this could never go away from what we have existing in this country. Everybody have different allegiances. And not all of it is political.
Right.
Some of it is also creating an environment where a person wants to, they want to engineer the perception of having some type of influence, having some type of power. And I have noticed that quite often, if you look, and I mean, Trinidad and Tobago, you guys can look at the behavior of some people in leadership roles. What they do, Stefan, is they create chaos and confusion and bacchanal and all the drama to emphasize their role and their value. And it's unfortunate.
Otherwise they look weak.
They look, it's really unfortunate in my opinion. But you know what? We are fast becoming a more conscientious society with the advent of technology and social media and all these things. People are ridding themselves of this yoke. And as we talk about Labor Day, let's go into that conversation. I heard the leader reference Labor Day and reference what they intend to do as a responsible union.
Okay.
The concept of struggle has evolved from where it started to where it's at now. There was a time when people were struggling to actually have their own life, just to save their life. And then there was a time where people were struggling for basic amenities, food and shelter and whatever. And then it went from that struggle to a struggle where people were struggling for quality of life. And now people are struggling for a preference in life. Somebody will tell you, I struggling, and when you realize they're struggling to buy an iPhone because the Nokia are not, or the
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it's really a dynamic, a shift in dynamic, and when you hear the leader talk about this trade union leader talk about the shift in economy and what may be an impending boom in the economy,
an economic boom.
I think Trinidad and Tobago, even hearing that message, we need to be very careful as a nation that we are not where we were before. That boom is not going to be something that is just going to just deliver a cash flow injection, as they say, a windfall of money that is going to sustain us forever. The transition of our economy has to take place with that.
Yeah, it has to be managed. Right? It's not that well we're in the middle of a boom, so give me and spend.
Yeah.
There's a management aspect to it in order to maximize any progressive moves that would be made by anybody managing the country at that particular point in time.
Yes.
And that's the other thing that I've seen. I've seen a move to eliminate a lot of waste and mismanagement. That is taking place as well, right?
When you see people, Stefan, who lack the ability to be progressive by still focusing on the demand for, I just want to get cash flow, a summer cash. And they don't understand the value of people having assets and people having resources and people having benefits that transcend just money in the bank. Then you have to ask yourself, do they really have the workers' agenda at heart? Do they really
That would
understand?
be the union leaders.
Well, when you look at it, that's what it is. There's a famous story that's told in the trade union circle. Basdeo Pandey was actually, as far as I'm aware, the first trade union to secure 100% increase for workers. He got 100% increase for sugar workers back in the day. First person. And the comrades said that when they met him after the settlement, they went to meet him by the office, and he was sweeping out the office. And one of the comrades, I think it would have been Comrade Cabrera, he said that, he asked him, he said, well, why are you not celebrating with everybody? He said, celebrate? He said, when they get an increase, according to the story, he said when they get an increase, they're going to go and take out loan and go by courts and the bank and thing, and that is the day, the end of struggle, because now they have commitments, so they wouldn't want to stay away from work again. That story stayed with me, because what it told me is that, you know, it's a two-pronged thing. From one side, you want people to elevate their lives, their self-value, their self-worth, their dignity. But there is also another story that another aspect of leadership could see. Well, if I give these people these things, then I will lose the control that I have with the perception of struggle that I leverage.
Right.
So sometimes you see people with a certain thinking. And this is where people, when you choose to follow others, you have to ask yourself, are they demonstrating traits, behavioral standards, and that are aligned with a collective success where everybody can become themselves independent thinkers to an extent? Or are they demonstrating traits that create a mindset where people must depend on them, the dependency syndrome, to get something all the time?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So when you talk about struggle, because that is what it's all about. Labor is always about struggle.
All right, but okay, what if Roger is saying that he cannot wait until tomorrow to come and speak of all the good things that is coming, right?
Right.
That economic boom that he mentioned, I have been talking about that for months now, because it's there. It's there in your face, you know. If you're going to read it, you'll find it, you know.
Right.
The first people that brought it up was a member of the U.S. Embassy who spoke during one of the business chambers, had a a seminar, and there was a representative there from the U.S. Embassy, and they spoke. Then the World Bank put out a report, and then outside of those reports, forget the Moody's and all of the credit agencies and so on and so forth, right? Putting those aside, those reports, you are seeing it because you have a steel plant coming to invest here.
Right.
The World Bank is setting up an office here. You have several big oil giants, energy giants, that have invested now in Trinidad and Tobago. The deal with Shell just the other day was a big one.
Right.
We had, 1.7 trillion cubic feet of gas is what they're going to be extracting, I think, from the Loran field. Outside of that, you're seeing other little things moving in the background in the manufacturing sector and the agricultural sector. We don't have to import black beans again. We're actually growing that here now. The Ministry of Agriculture released that information just a few weeks ago, about a month ago. That was a big feature.
Carrots as well.
Huh?
Carrots as well.
Carrots as well.
Yeah, they push
right. So they're
carrots.
trying to bring down the food import bill by producing those things here.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than having to import it. Those are big moves. Those are not no slight moves. If you look at 2026 and these things are happening, it could have happened a little earlier maybe.
It could have.
If with proper management in place. But my point is, there are things that are happening, but there's a lot of noise as well. And we get attracted, and I keep telling people that we get attracted to the noise.
Yeah, we get attracted to back.
Now that economic boom is going to benefit everybody, right? Or it is supposed to benefit everybody, all right? And I think that's what Roger is saying. Now, inclusive, I'm going to try I'm going to toss something here now into the equation. We just had the Minister of Labour in Parliament, I think it was yesterday, on Petrotrin.
Yes.
Right, and the bidders are Petrotrin.
That's correct.
So Petrotrin, the refinery seems to be, not seems to be, it appears to be definitely on the table. So where is that going to put us as well now? And more importantly, where does that put the OWTU? Because I don't know how powerful the OWTU is since the closure of that refinery.
The OWTU remains the union that has first, in line for successorship for whoever and whatever becomes of that refinery, right? That's how trade unionism works. Even though the Petrotrin is no longer existing, whatever that facility becomes, they can apply for successorship and they will remain the recognized majority union. But apart from that, let's be realistic. The OWTU has access to all of the persons who are specialized in that particular field.
Yeah.
So they are inadvertently the best partner for the government in that process. I don't know how the previous government threw that away. Now, are they the best partner for becoming the management of it? I have a different opinion of that. In my opinion, you cannot want to serve a particular side's agenda, but then say that you're going to
workers'
lead.
rights.
So I see value in a partnership.
Yeah, it's a conflict.
I cannot see, it doesn't make sense. It's irrational in my opinion, because I never understood how that dynamic would have played out. But, I mean, that's water under the bridge. The point is that I think that this government has, by virtue of what we've heard, it appears that they have struck some type of balance between themselves and this union, who has absolute access to that resource that they will need, or whoever comes in to buy this facility will need to run this facility.
But balance has been struck in the past, not so?
Well,
to some extent, right? With unions.
I
mean, government and unions have struck.
No, there was balance on paper, and it was never really realized.
Okay.
And what you see now is a realization of that commitment to balance.
Okay.
Right? So I think that other unions should now look at this and ask themselves, do some introspection. How do I create unison with the employment class? Because not just the employer class is not just the government. You know, government is, by and large, the biggest employer in the country. But take a pattern from this. When you talk about partnership, employment is only generated by the business owners.
Okay.
It's not generated by anything
By
else.
anything else, yeah.
So they are intrinsically your most valuable partner because they feed everything that serves your interest as a trade union.
Right.
So in my opinion, anything that comes out tomorrow that's contrary to that agenda is nothing but mischief and nonsense. Right? And we must accept, Trinidad and Tobago, that in the course of the employment relationship, there will always be contention. When people are parents, they have children. And siblings get in a squabble all the time. Does that mean that you must now decide that I am going to be a parent only for this child, I'm going to leave the other child? Does that mean that you should stop deciding to be a parent?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right, yeah.
So the point is, that is the nature of it. And you have two parents in this, right? It is a marriage, proverbially, and the benefactors are the working class. And what's interesting is the working class feeds back into the business initiative because your consumers are, by and large, employees, people that work. That's how you get money when you're doing something else. And I just want to add a comment on that. I want to shout out Trinidad and Tobago Police Service this morning. I don't know if it's a PC, I assume it's a PC Marshall and his colleague, I forgot your name, I'm sorry. That thing you spoke about this morning where the home invasion, it escalated into, as far as I understand, it escalated into a shootout with the police in Arangwell.
Really?
Yeah, and these guys, you see, Trinidad and Tobago, and this is not casting any positive or negative aspersions either way. In every facet of Trinidad and Tobago, you have good people, and then you have questionable people.
Right.
So that is, the police service is not impervious to that reality. But police officers have a unique work environment that is unlike everybody else's work environment. So when you came to work today, there's no chance that you were thinking that camera is going to kill you.
Yeah, true.
And let me tell you what the police service is treating with every day. These guys, these men and women go out there, and every day they go to work with the reality behind their minds. And the reality is that I could die.
Yeah.
And you know why? It's nothing else except the human beings that they have to contend with. And these guys were running, the officers had to take cover, as far as I understand. Because you had people, young men in a vehicle, with whatever intention, as I understand it.
And they opened fire on the police?
Yeah, well, apparently, according to what the officers, and what some of the things we've seen, so it's real unfortunate how these things are happening, right? The choices that some people are making. But kudos to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. You guys continue to put your lives on the line to protect this nation. And despite what the naysayers may have, and of course, despite some of the questionable elements in the fraternity, in my opinion, majority of the police service are committed to protecting this country.
Well, I mean, if you ever become a victim of crime,
you will understand.
I don't know, pick up the phone and call the criminal elements. See if they come to help you. I know it's the police's call, so I just always tell them that, you know. No, I'm telling you, pick up the phone and call the criminals.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? It actually has some people will say, but Stefan, you know, I can pick up the phone and call the criminals and I'll get back my thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because it have men like that. I remember a partner of mine was a victim of a crime at time some years ago, and I had to call, well, I mean, in no uncertain terminology, the boss up in the hole there, I had to call the boss and say, hey, your boys and them no rob, you know what I mean? And within about an hour or less, they brought back the man items. Yeah, and here the kicks in now, in that hour, they sell the phone, you know, to somebody already, you know, for $1,000, you know. And that was to go back and get the phone back from the man, you know. I'm telling you, that is you know what I mean? Yeah. I think the only thing he didn't get back was all the money in the wallet. I mean, they spent some, but we're going to do, right? But that's how it is be sometimes. So some people say, yeah, if I call the criminal, I'll get back, but not on most occasions. When a crime is committed, you call the police, you know what I mean? So
course.
But it is what it is. Tomorrow is going to be very interesting from a labor perspective, I would imagine. We're just about out of time. It's 21 minutes away from the hour of 8 o'clock. I don't know if you could do this in a minute, but we spoke about the OWTU.
Yeah.
But what about the PSA? And there, because you have the OWTU and the PSA.
Two very powerful unions.
Two very powerful unions, if not the two most powerful in the country, and they have aligned themselves with the government.
So I think it's really a changing of the tide. I think it's a transition, in my opinion, a transition in trade unionism. And it's, in my opinion, again, it's in the right direction because it serves the interests of the working class of Trinidad and Tobago, by and large, the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago, for these leaderships, these very powerful leaderships, to align their interests, align their focus, align their energies, so that they can synergize into a progressive, developing society. That's what the outcome can lead to, will lead to, in my opinion. So I think the other unions should now do the introspection. I'm repeating it. Do the introspection and adjust their strategies so that the people, the working class, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, everybody can really benefit from progressive thinking.
All right, nice man. So, Mr. Ramkumar Narinesingh, of course, you got to thank him for being with us this morning, and of course, he will be here next week. Of course, we'll have his thoughts on what was said on Friday. We will wait. I won't address that. I'll wait for him to address it on the Thursday because he's the expert in that field, industrial relations. Chef, you have something for us? What happened? We starving over here, you know. Man, belly in the hand, you know, man. You allergic to shrimp?
No, I'm not.
All right, he's not. He just eats shrimps, right? So, nice man. All right.
Thank you very much.
Right, you have a little steak. Right, man. Some steak, eggs, and shrimps. All right? Shrimps. That's we. Hey, wait. We have. Nice man. We have the real thing, man. Hospitality. All right. Hold on. It have more. Only hold on. It have more. Oh, God. Cheesecake. God, Lord mercy, boy, Lord Father.
Happy birthday. Thank you very much, Chef.
No problem, Chef. So people, as we say, as we end off the segment here with Mr. Narinesingh, we are going to a break. But when we come back from the break, fellas, the Macreep clip. Trini Surfer went down to Macreep. He posted this about a day ago. There was some work. You ever been to Macreep?
Yeah.
When is the last time you went?
I went a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, they did some.
They have done some work down in Macreep, boy.
That was it.
They gave it a facelift.
Yeah.
So like I tell you all, it's how work going on. It's if you want to see the work that's going on, you'll open your eye and see it.
Yeah.
But Trini Surfer went down. Don't take my word for it.
Go and check
I
it out.
haven't been to Macreep in years, but the way that I see that they have built it up now, that they've done the facelift, I am very interested in heading down to Macreep and just chilling out a day. So when we come back from the break, we're going straight to this. All right? Because a man had to digest the food before he wish people happy birthday. All right? And then we'll come back and wrap up the program. So keep it right here. Breaking On continues. A little taste of Macreep with Trini Surfer when we return.
Okay, man.
Yeah?